الله أكبر الله أكبر.
To the American people that Syria's stockpile of chemical weapons is dangerous and could be deadly. Sound familiar? Well, if it does, that could be because you heard similar talk a decade ago in the lead up to war with Iraq.
The danger to our country is grave. The danger to our country is growing. The Iraqi regime possesses biological and chemical weapons.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass death.
Every statement I make today is backed up by sources, solid sources. These are not assertions. What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence.
Well, not questioning these assertions and that solid intelligence is regarded today as one of the biggest media fails in history. And yet there's a possibility we're seeing something similar with Syria, that this alleged movement of chemical weapons could mean the West can and should get involved. This was made abundantly clear today as the latest news came out regarding the turmoil in the region.
Targeted a military research center on the outskirts of the capital. Video footage and eyewitness accounts suggest that attacks hit weapons dumps, triggering large explosions there. Syria says a number of people were killed and wounded amid widespread destruction. The Arab League has condemned the strikes and demanded the UN Security Council act to stop any more.
Syrian Deputy Foreign Minister Faisal al-Mikdad has called this morning's attack on a Syrian military research facility, to quote him, a declaration of war by Israel. Because Syria, of course, is a close ally of Iran, and in all likelihood, Iran is now bound to also declare war on Israel.
هذا حال داري اليوم. قصف عنيف جدا براجمات الصواريخ.
He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office that says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. I said 7 countries in 5 years.
Well, hundreds of U.S. and NATO soldiers reportedly arrive on the border of Syria.
Isn't there a danger, though, that despite what's happening domestically in Syria, this could actually turn into a regional conflict? Already we've seen 5 people killed in Lebanon, a Turkish jet shot down recently. While this bickering goes on amongst those world powers, as they call themselves, is there not a danger of it spreading much further now beyond Syria's borders?
Well, if you look at the planning, if you're in the Pentagon right now, or in any of the top think tanks in the U.S., or even a year ago, the plan is, Bill, the plan is regional destabilization, okay? The U.S. Embassy has drawn up plans as far back as early this year and is already organizing plans as far back as April to evacuate 20,000 American citizens from Lebanon and embassy staff and NGO workers, okay? This is really happening, okay? You haven't read about it, but it's on a very good source from in Beirut that it is happening. Now, what does that mean? That means they're already planning for the destabilization of Lebanon, Washington. So is this good news for Lebanon? No, it's not.
Okay, Patrick, just briefly then, what is the end goal for all of this regional destabilization? What's the main aim here, just briefly, from your point of view?
The door is open for an attack on Iran, and that is the precursor to World War III as we know it.
And we begin with breaking news as more than 20 embassies and consulates are closing around the world right now. And here at home, increased security measures are now in place. ABC News has learned this morning that the intercepted communications that led to the alert indicate terrorists are planning an attack that is going to be big and, quote, strategically significant.
We don't show the bodies of children without a good reason, but this is potential evidence that chemical weapons were used. And here at the Pentagon, officials have updated the target list for potential airstrikes in Syria. Officials are telling us that Assad's forces are moving, and so the options available to President Obama have to be current. Every new image from the site of an alleged chemical weapons attack in Syria pushes President Obama harder to defend his red line.
What we've seen indicates that this is clearly a big event of grave concern.
But the outrage among U.S. allies is building, along with pressure to do more. The Pentagon has just updated a list of potential targets in Syria, including the option of using cruise missiles to destroy Assad's capability to deliver chemical weapons.
It appears the Syrian government is preparing its biological and chemical weapons.
Hillary Clinton gave Syria a warning this morning about the use of chemical weapons.
The possible use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime.
The Syrian government is losing its grip on Damascus, and that may be part of the reason why they are preparing their chemical weapons.
The data shows moving, apparently, these weapons.
So does the increased attention to Syria's chemical weapons mean that the West is readying itself for an invasion and building an arsenal of justification?
On this Saturday night, state of emergency. Searching for a Syria strategy with U.S. warships on alert in the Mediterranean, the president looks for options after doctors inside Syria confirm thousands were treated for symptoms of a chemical attack.
The whole timing, however, of this latest allegation over the use of chemical weaponry being purported to be done by the Syrian government is particularly interesting. I mean, we've heard from the Russian government that it's casting doubts over claims that Damascus was indeed behind this latest attack, saying that it suspects that the evidence might be being used to frame the Syrian government. A Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson did say that they were getting new evidence that these claims were of a provocative nature, and that the reports that have been circulating on the internet that these accusations that Damascus indeed carried out this attack, in fact, were posted several hours before the so-called attack actually happened. So, of course, there are a lot of question marks over what indeed transpired earlier this week.